Hi everyone, today I'm joined by Tim Taylor from Eyworks and we're talking about software systems and kind of bringing them into the setting and how they can work for you. One thing I want to talk to you about was stakeholder engagement and buy-in. I regularly talk about how I have worked in integration teams and, the kickback you sometimes get from staff regarding bringing in a new system is like, but I really like my spreadsheet. How do you kind of encourage that even before a system is implemented and then obviously throughout the rollout process?
Yeah, it's a really important thing for any nursery to consider when they're implementing software. Typically, the buying decision might be from the non-day-to-day users.
Yeah.
So we encourage those people involved in that initial decision to engage their team prior to us looking to roll out training, roll out the system, to set the landscape in terms of what's coming, why it's coming from their business perspective. So that when we arrive to almost implement and train staff on the system, they've got an understanding of what they're trying to achieve with the platform. And in that way, people almost buy into their own little way rather than I being involved in choosing this. They're almost buying in because they understand why it's being chosen.
They have a vested interest.
Correct. Yeah. And that's a really big part because if someone feels invested in something, they're much more likely to engage in the training and then engage in use of the system in that way.
Okay. And then with the actual rollout itself, I mean, I think it keeps coming back to training and making sure that people are using the bits they need to use and really understand how those bits are kind of come about and what they lead to.
Yeah, exactly right. When we think about training and planning of training, we want the right stakeholders in the right training sessions and training courses so that they're really understanding how their part of the process works and how they can kind of add value almost in terms of what they're looking to achieve as an organization with the software. And when we think about that training, initially we're looking at how they would be able to use their function specifically, but we look to round out the training with everyone involved in terms of how does your input piece impact the wider use of the platform? Because then again, people get that buy-in of, okay, my contribution does have a value. It's not just an input of data into a different place or different area to what I'm used to. It actually is leading to this wider reporting or wider engagement that the organization can see.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because I think especially if you're kind of in setting in room, you might hear such stats as, well, this is our occupancy and this is, and you don't necessarily know where they come from or how correct they are. But if you know you're putting towards them and the information you're putting in is important, you're more likely to be engaged with that information, aren't you?
Yeah, and also that understanding of kind of the output that comes from it almost adds a expectation on the accuracy of the data that the user puts in day to day, and they can then start to see that, okay, if I do this correctly, this leads to this output, which is maybe being used at a board level or a manager level to make sure that in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years down the line, that the setting the nursery is where it needs to be. So yeah, getting that information cascaded to the team is really important.
Well, I hope you guys found that useful. If you have any questions, please drop them below and we'll see you again soon.